Meyerson with Yoga Athletica with my hair down. Today I just want to go live, and if anyone wants to pop on, feel free to pipe in. But I wanted to talk about YouTube Shorts for yoga versus actual videos. The reason I'm making this video is because I have certain shorts, particularly the one about dropping back to the wall to learn how to stand and drop in a back bend, where many people are watching the shorts and then sort of deciding on the moment, like, does this work or does this not work? And in that short in particular, I know that there are some young and very flexible gymnast kids who have a lot of training that give them the skills, the flexibility, to do sort of the skills that I'm teaching that maybe they just haven't fully developed the process. And so to that extent, maybe a 10 or 20-second short gives them all the information that they need to accomplish this one thing. It's like that one turn of the key that gets them to their final destination. But the reason I'm making this video is because so many people, particularly that video, but also the one about the splits, like I have a short on like how to get all the way into the splits. And I think that people don't always realize that even though I shoot these videos in a matter of seconds, what people aren't seeing or considering is the years, sometimes months, but often years of practice that went into accomplishing that goal in the first place. So, like, for example, the one with the split. So I have a shorts video and it shows like how anyone can do the splits. And it starts out with a whole bunch of blocks under their leg. And then there's like one less block and one less block and one less block. And then I'm on the floor. Okay, so have you guys ever seen those like time-lapse videos of like a flower growing? And it's like, wow, look at that. It went from like a seed to a sunflower in a matter of 15 seconds. Okay, that's what you're looking at when you watch these shorts. You are watching the seed to the sunflower in a matter of seconds, but seeds do not grow into sunflowers in a matter of seconds. So when it comes to a splits video, I have to be honest, by the time I was practicing splits, I was pretty flexible already. So if I can remember correctly, I was probably using for quite a while one block on the medium height under my thigh, right? And when I say quite a while, I can't remember that far back, right? Like, so I've been practicing since 2001 on the daily. And so it's hard for me to like put together these timelines, but let me just say it was a while. Like, I'm going to guess a year, 2 years, I don't know, that I kept a block under my thigh in the splits. And in fact, I got the full splits on my right side way before I got on my left side, like way before. And so I want you to know, first of all, when you watch my yoga shorts, almost always I have a long form video that is associated with it that you'll see like right in the tag, or in the tag, like on the video, it will say my name, like Shana Meyerson, YOGAthletica. And then usually like right above it, you'll see the link to the video that explains the particular skill that I am trying to teach. Now, my videos, if you haven't watched my videos, are super granular. Like, I break things down into teeny tiny bite-sized pieces that I think everyone can understand. But understanding is not always the same as being able to do, right? Like, I want you to keep in mind, no matter what the title of any short says by any human being, you cannot master like the splits overnight, good morning, or you cannot suddenly be able to do a back bend and grab your ankles overnight. these are flexibility skills that take an extraordinary amount of practice. Unless you're like born like a fillet of person. Some people are. Some people are extraordinarily bendy right out of the womb. And again, I know that a lot of my viewers are kids, and I super appreciate that. I don't know if you guys know, but I was one of the first people in the Western world teaching yoga to children on a large scale. This was all the way back. I started Mini Yogis in March of 2002. And so children own a huge, huge, important piece of my heart. But when I see kids who are watching my 10-second videos and expecting that, oh, right now I'm going to be able to do a split all the way on the floor, I just really want to impart to everybody, please watch the long form videos and keep in mind, not only does flexibility take time to build, it takes consistency. If you really want to build flexibility, and for those of you who don't know, I'm 53 now. I'm no spring chicken. I do all the crazy flexibility stuff and the crazy strength and balance stuff, okay? But it's not because I'm like a natural at it or I'm better at it than anyone else. It's simply because I practice for 2 to 2.5 hours every single day. That's a lie. I don't do it every day. I take one day off a week to rest. That's a new thing this year. I never used to take a day off, but now I do. Yes, I'm American. And I do have one day that I run the Santa Monica stairs. That's like just a hardcore cardio workout. So 5 days a week, I'm doing 2 to 2.5 hours on my mat. And I'm from Los Angeles, for those of you who don't know. And then the other 2 days, one day I'm going hard on the Santa Monica stairs with a long stretching routine afterwards. Guys, if you want to get flexible, you have got to stretch after you do a workout, okay? Now, to me, I don't consider yoga a workout. Yoga is a practice. No matter how hard you go, I wouldn't use the word workout, but keep in mind that any sort of classically sequenced yoga practice is always going to end with deep stretching anyway. That's built into the practice. And what's also beautiful about yoga is that even the strength poses, quite honestly, usually have a stretching element to it. That's why like a yoga person is not going to have small tight muscles like a gymnast. They're going to have long lean muscles because we're constantly stretching. Okay, now if you really, hi to everybody, thank you for all these messages. I'm so happy to see you guys here. If you really want to get super flexible, I want you to keep in mind that the best stretching is going to come when you're already very warm from your practice. So you want to do a fairly significant warm up before doing deep stretches. For example, by the time I get to my deepest back bends, and I have a very deep back bend series every time, by the time I get there, I have warmed up for a minimum of an hour and a half. Okay. I'll be taking questions after I'm done rambling. And then if you want to put those back in, I'll be very happy. So all of this is to say, you need to be patient, you need to be consistent, and you must make sure that you are warm and that you are stretching regularly. I think that a lot of people resist stretching because either they think it's boring or it doesn't look good on Instagram. They want to focus on like the end result so much. They want to get the full split, the full handstand, the full back bend without doing the work that has to go into these skills. And so what you wind up doing is sometimes like pushing past your edge and hurting yourself. That's never a good idea. If you watch my stretching videos, particularly the shorts, don't feel like the point of the short is to tell you go all the way into the split. The point of the short is to show you how to use where you are and over time get closer and closer to the split. So be sure to watch the associated videos that are in almost all of my shorts, have a link so that you can learn the actual skills that will get you into these poses. Guys, remember that nothing is ever worth hurting yourself over, okay? The yoga practice is supposed to be a practice that helps you feel better about yourself and gets you stronger and more flexible and better balance and better equilibrium and all the things. But if you're so intent on, getting all the way into whatever skill it is that I'm showing you, that's a recipe for disaster. And it's also a recipe to really, really hurt yourself. So take everything slowly. Do not go past your edge, but work to your edge. Every day, just see what's the furthest you can go without hurting yourself. And then the next day, maybe see if you go the tiniest bit deeper. Also, I have 2 channels of Vimeo classes. These are full-length classes that are guaranteed to build the strength and the flexibility and the balance that you need to get into all the yoga poses that I teach here on YouTube. Keep in mind, on YouTube, 99% of the classes that I teach are just teaching one pose at a time. If you want the full-length classes, meaning a warm-up, the heated poses, the proper cool down, the shavasana, everyone loves the shavasana, you can get those on my Vimeo channel. And in fact, if you email me, which is Shana at YOGAthletica.com, and you can figure out the spelling by just looking at the name of my channel, which is Shana Meyerson YOGAthletica, I can send you a pass where you could get a full month of Vimeo classes for just $5 on demand. So basically the price of a cup of coffee, you can get all the classes that you want and really, really, really level up your practice. So if there are any questions that you would like to ask, wow, Ross, that's a hard thing. What's one thing that I would tell my younger self? Actually, that's not a hard thing at all. What I would tell my younger self is don't be so hard on yourself. I grew up as such a perfectionist, and I was so hard on myself. Maybe you've seen some of my interviews I've done. They're in my interview playlist, where I literally, when I didn't get into Stanford University, which was the only thing that I wanted in my life, I thought that I was worth absolutely nothing. I had accomplished so much as a child and as a teen, and it was none of it mattered anymore. And if I could tell my young self anything, I would have told myself it's okay to fall. It's not failure. So what else? Oh, somebody asked me, is yoga a religious practice? That's a very interesting question. If you look at the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, which is sort of, this is going to sound religious, it's not, I don't have another word for it, but it's sort of like the Bible of yoga. It is the practice of yoga, the classical practice of yoga is, like it or not, predicated on submission to a higher power. Now, here's what's interesting about that, however. It's called Ishvara Pranidhana. It means submission to a higher power. But what's interesting is that Patanjali, the author of the Yoga Sutras, never specifies a name for that higher power. I know so many people assume that this is a Hindu practice or a Buddhist practice. The truth is that yoga, the word yoga, by the way, means to yoke together. And in the West, we like to say to yoke mind, body, and spirit because it sounds sort of very palatable. But the truth is that yoga really means yoking yourself to God. Okay. Now, so does that make it a religious practice? In a way, yes. In a way, no, because it doesn't specify that God. So if you're Christian, yoga would say, submit to Jesus. If you are Jewish, it submit to, what we call God. If you were Muslim, it would be submit to Allah. If you're Buddhist, it would be submit to Buddha. If you're Hare Krishna, it's submit to Krishna. You see, so that's the thing that people, I think, don't understand. Yes, yoga has a huge God element to it, but it allows you to choose your God. So it is in a way religious, but it's not tied to a specific religion. What other questions do we have? Thank you for being a jerk. Get right. For what it's worth, I've never touched a drug. I've never touched a cigarette. I've never done any of that stuff in my life. Maybe I live on a natural high because I love life and I live the cleanest life. But thank you for that super rude comment. Where am I from? I'm from Los Angeles, California. Many people, it means they're suffering with either chemical deficit. Okay. So some interesting comments. If I could go back in time knowing what I know now, would you, and how far back would you go? Oh boy. Ken, I love and hate that question at the same time because a big part of yoga is accepting that everything is exactly as it should be. And so what I'm about to say, because I'm going to answer your question honestly, goes against that principle. If I could go back in time knowing what I know now, I would go back to age 2. I would start over. I would start over and appreciate more the gifts that I've been given, the opportunities, the experiences. I think that I know that as a child, I was not privileged in the super wealthy sense of the word, but I was privileged in that I didn't want for anything, and I was extraordinarily highly accomplished. The number of awards and honors that I won and the opportunities that I had as a child and as a teen are things that when I look back were so huge. I was invited, for example, by the U.S. Congress to represent my district in the United States Model Congress that actually took place on the floor of the House of Representatives. And to me, that was just such a normal thing. I didn't appreciate any of that. The amount of opportunity I had going to an Ivy League school and the professors that I had and the things I experienced. And if I could go back and knowing what I know now, I would go all the way back. I would go to 2 or 3 and I would just enjoy the ride more than I did or have. Are there any other questions? Thank you to Ken and Ross. Those were, I like those questions. Somebody said, I want the class. What will be the timings? I'm not sure what that means. Does it mean the Vimeo class? Because those classes are on demand, meaning that you would be able to access them anytime you want. I have links to my Vimeo channel basically in every video that I make. But again, you could email me. I could send you more information. Okay, so as a neuroscientist, everyone had trauma stored in their fear center. Yoga helps to expand and process this trauma shocks and tell the brain, now don't scan the environment for similar threats. I'm safe. Absolutely, San. Thank you for sharing that. It's so true. Yoga is an incredible tool for dealing with and overcoming trauma, among other things. We work so much on non-reactivity, and that really helps to calm our nervous system and to reestablish like a state of equilibrium. Are there any other questions that I can answer? Really, my main point in making this video is I do want to speak particularly to young people who are looking at my shorts, not like the shorts that I'm wearing, my YouTube shorts, and taking those 10 seconds of information and trying to go into stuff that maybe they're not quite ready for, to really take the time, watch the full tutorials, learn the skills, be patient with yourself. Like, never ever just try something once and decide that you can't do it. Perseverance pays. And don't worry if it takes, another kid or adult, whatever, a day to do something, a minute or an hour. If you are working at your own pace, within your own means, then you're doing just perfectly. Everybody's body will find what they need to find when they're ready. And we all need to also learn to enjoy the process more. The reason that I can do some pretty extraordinary things on my yoga mat is because I decided long ago to stop worrying about the end result and instead just focus on the process. Process is how we get to the end result. Okay, when you're focused on the end result, it's like focusing on a place that you're going to without ever getting in your car to drive there, right? So process is the car ride there that really helps us to get wherever we're going. Okay, so I guess that's it for today. You could always write questions or comments in my comment section. You could always ask questions. You could email me. I always reply to everybody. More than anything, guys, please enjoy the ride. Be patient. Be persistent. Practice regularly. Accept where you are. Always try harder. And you will, over time, be amazed at the things that you're able to do. This is Shana Meyerson with YOGAthletica in Los Angeles, California. Wishing you an awesome night or day, depending where you are. Have a good one.